Defence ministers from 5 major European NATO members gathered in Berlin to discuss critical security concerns in the face of rising hybrid threats. These threats, which include drone incursions, cyber attacks and other forms of asymmetric warfare, have raised alarm across Europe. The ministers pledged to enhance their collective defence capabilities in response to these evolving challenges. The meeting marked an important moment in Europe's ongoing effort to strengthen its defence posture, particularly in the context of ongoing geopolitical tensions with Russia and other global security dynamics. The defence ministers who attended the Berlin meeting represented France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Poland and Italy. The talks, which took place in the aftermath of continued security concerns linked to Russia's aggression in Ukraine, underscored the necessity of a coordinated and proactive approach to modern security threats. This collaboration, known as the E5 initiative, aims to promote greater unity among NATO's European members and address the full spectrum of threats that European countries now face. Catherine Vautrin, the French Minister of Defence, delivered one of the key addresses at the press conference following the meeting. In her speech, she stressed that Europe's response to these hybrid threats must go beyond mere rhetoric and move into concrete, actionable steps. Our response cannot be in words. It must be in facts, in actions, both in our resolute support for Ukraine and in our determination to strengthen the alliance's defence capabilities, she stated. Her remarks were a clear indication of the need for NATO members to act decisively in both supporting Ukraine amid its ongoing conflict with Russia and in building more robust defence mechanisms within Europe itself. Minister Vautrin also highlighted the importance of strengthening NATO's European pillar. She emphasised that Europe must take more responsibility for its own defence, especially in light of growing security challenges in the region. She said, "We, Europeans, want to be proactive in collectively confronting threats. This requires strengthening the European pillar of NATO, better coordination between the European Union and NATO, and the ability to take our own responsibilities." These remarks underline the increasing desire among European NATO members to bolster their own defence capabilities and ensure that they are not overly reliant on the United States for security matters. In the same press conference, Healey, the British Minister of Defence, reiterated the pressing need for European nations to do more in terms of defence, spending and military readiness. Healey's comments came in response to rising concerns over the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, which has been marked by Russia's continued aggression and its refusal to back down on territorial expansion. Healey noted the increasing importance of the E5 initiative, especially given the ongoing challenges facing European security. As Russian aggression intensifies, the war in Ukraine continues to rage, and the US has rightly challenged European nations to do more and to increase their defence spending. So today, the E5 is more important than it was a year, Healey said. The British Defence Minister's comments highlight a recurring theme in European defence discussions: the need for NATO's European members to contribute more to the alliance's defence and ensure that they are capable of addressing regional threats on their own. With the United States under increasing pressure to refocus its resources on other global priorities, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, European countries are feeling the weight of responsibility for their own defence needs. This shift towards greater European autonomy in defence matters has become a focal point of NATO discussions in recent years. Alongside Healey's comments, Boris Pistorius, the German Minister of Defence, provided additional insight into the steps European nations have already taken to address hybrid threats. These threats, which include cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns and unconventional military operations, have become increasingly prevalent in the security landscape of Europe. Pistorius explained that European nations, in coordination with NATO, have already implemented a range of measures to counter these hybrid threats. He emphasised that a unified and thoughtful response had been critical in ensuring the effectiveness of these measures. We have responded decisively but also thoughtfully to hybrid attacks of various kinds, and our measures are proving effective at the national, bilateral, European Union and NATO levels, Pistorius said. His statement underscored the multi-layered approach that Europe has adopted in response to hybrid threats, which involves not only military measures but also diplomatic and technological efforts. The German defence minister's remarks also pointed to the importance of continued cooperation among European nations to address these threats effectively. The Berlin meeting was not only a platform for defence ministers to discuss immediate security concerns, but also served as a forum for addressing broader strategic issues related to Europe's defence capabilities. The ministers discussed the growing threat of cyberattacks, which have become one of the most pressing concerns in European security. The European Union has already taken steps to bolster its cybersecurity infrastructure, and NATO has worked to enhance its own capabilities in this domain. However, the ministers acknowledged that much work remains to be done to ensure that Europe is adequately prepared for the evolving nature of cyber warfare. In addition to cyber threats, the meeting also addressed the issue of drone incursions, which have become a significant security concern for many European nations. These incursions, which involve the use of unmanned aerial vehicles to conduct surveillance, reconnaissance and even attacks, have raised alarm in several countries. Drone technology has become increasingly accessible and sophisticated, making it a valuable tool for state and non-state actors alike. The ministers agreed that NATO must work together to develop advanced counter-drone capabilities and ensure that European countries are prepared to address this emerging threat. While the focus of the meeting was on hybrid threats, the ministers also reaffirmed their support for Ukraine, which remains on the front lines of the battle against Russian aggression. Ukraine has received significant military and financial support from NATO and its European members, and the ministers reiterated their commitment to ensuring Ukraine's defence capabilities are strengthened as Russia continues its military campaign in Ukraine. The European members of NATO remain resolute in their determination to provide Ukraine with the necessary resources and assistance to defend its sovereignty. The E5 initiative represents a crucial step in the evolution of NATO's European defence strategy. By fostering closer cooperation between European NATO members, the initiative aims to ensure that Europe is better prepared to address both conventional and hybrid security threats. It also signals a growing recognition among European nations that they must take greater responsibility for their own defence and security. While NATO's transatlantic partnership with the United States remains vital, European members are increasingly focused on strengthening their own defence capabilities and ensuring that they can respond to emerging threats independently if necessary. As the Berlin meeting concluded, the defence ministers expressed their shared commitment to continuing efforts to enhance Europe's defence capabilities. They agreed that further coordination between NATO and the European Union is essential to ensuring that Europe is prepared to confront both current and future security challenges. With hybrid threats becoming more complex and diverse, the ministers acknowledged that the path forward will require innovative solutions, greater cooperation and a more proactive stance on defence and security. In summary, the Berlin meeting on the 14th of November 2025 marked a significant milestone in the strengthening of Europe's defence capabilities. The defence ministers from France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Poland and Italy pledged to work together more closely to counter hybrid threats, including drone incursions and cyber attacks. Their commitment to enhancing NATO's European pillar and increasing defence spending was underscored by their shared belief in the need for proactive and decisive action in the face of evolving security challenges. As NATO continues to adapt to the changing nature of global threats, the European members are increasingly focused on building a more robust and self-reliant defence posture, with the E5 initiative serving as a key platform for this effort.
Iranian defense systems for the major cities and for the front.
Continuerà sempre perché, ripeto, noi non stiamo difendendo
The message is coming out of this meeting. This is, of course, a very strong, visible sign.
Other worries with China regarding their economic coercive practices that they are.
Notre réponse ne peut pas être dans les mots, elle doit être dans les faits. dans les actes, à la fois dans notre soutien résolu à l'Ukraine et dans notre détermination à renforcer les moyens de défense de l'Alliance. Nous, Européens, notre volonté est d'être proactifs pour faire collectivement face aux menaces. Cela passe par le renforcement du pilier européen de l'OTAN, une meilleure coordination entre l'Union européenne et l'OTAN et une capacité à prendre nos propres responsabilités. Les efforts budgétaires.
Russian aggression is growing. The war in Ukraine continues to rage, and the US has rightly challenged European nations to do more and to spend more on defence. So today, the E5 is more important now than it was a year ago.
Wir haben auf die hybriden Angriffe der verschiedenen Art entschlossen, geschlossen, aber auch besonnen gleichzeitig reagiert. Und unsere Maßnahmen zeigen Wirkung, national, bilateral, innerhalb der Europäischen Union, aber auch der NATO. Das gilt für die